This is my 1993 F-150. My grandfather drove this truck, my cousin drove this truck, and it was my first vehicle. But for the past 10 years, it's been nothing more than a glorified lawn ornament. Today, I'm going to find out if this truck will ever be on the road again. Now, 10 years ago, I parked this truck because I needed something that was a little more reliable commuting to and from school. This truck leaked oil, transmission fluid, and gas when I parked it, and in the years since, it started to leak brake fluid. Now, when we bought our farm 3 years ago, I made up my mind that I was going to drive this truck from the old house to here, and I mean, this got too close to moving day, and I realized that I needed more work to be done. Because of that, though, the bed is still not attached because I took it off because I knew the fuel system needed to be worked on. So the first thing that I'm doing today is popping that bed off of there so we can get access, and we're going to change out that front fuel tank. Well, that works. This truck is equipped with dual fuel tanks. It's got a front tank or a mid-mount tank and a rear tank. The fuel pump on the back one does not work. I'm not sure if it's a wiring thing or if the pump has gone bad. I've checked the fuses. I haven't checked all the relays because I think there's more than one, so could be something like that. That back tank, for some reason, drains into the front one. And so what I was doing before was, because the front tank has a hole in it, I would run it off the back tank for, I don't know, a few miles, 10, 15 miles maybe. I'd switch over to the front tank and bleed it dry so all the fuel that ran from the back one into the front one didn't all end up on the ground, and I would just back and forth like that. It's not how you do it, but when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, you're just making do, I guess. The front tank has a hole, so I'm dropping it. I'm going to replace it. I've got a new one sitting over there in the shop. I'm not going to worry about the rear tank right now because I can run the truck off the front one, and as far as I know, I'm not going to be losing any fuel from front to back. The problem was back to front. Well, after a quick trip to the auto parts store because I didn't have a 3/8 fuel line disconnect, piece of cake. That was worth a $250. Everything's a hammer if you believe in yourself. Don't forget the gasket. I've got the new fuel tank on. Everything's buttoned up, at least back to where it was when I started this project. We're going to add some gas and go from there. This is so nerve-wracking. I'm pouring $10 in here. Not a huge investment, but you know, what if it doesn't work? Let me know down in the comments how much gas is where you are. It was $2.85 when I bought this today. I know this truck's got a pretty bad vacuum leak, so when it barks off, it's not going to sound very good, but I've checked the oil and we're good to go there. I vacuumed about 17 mouse houses out of the air filter, and the fuel pump came on. So with the battery having been on the charger all day, I don't know. We'll see. But only one thing left to do now. Need more juice. Well, she's trying, and maybe we could all just hope to try a little bit harder each day. I'm going to pull that battery back off and put it on a different charger. Come to think of it, the one I was using, I may have remembered it. It could be suspect, and it might be on its way out. But I've got another one. I'm going to try it again. Even with the truck hooked up, trying to jump it off of, you know, a known good battery, it's just not you know, it's just not. It's trying. A wise man named Aaron Tippin once said, "There ain't nothing wrong with a radio." So we're gonna maybe just keep trying and listen to some tunes, and we'll just cross our fingers and hope. And I'm about to run out of daylight, so might come down to trying it tomorrow. We'll see. I didn't even realize until I walked away that the light under the hood had come on. How about that? Well, it's a new day. Got a new battery. Same hoodie. Don't mind that. Let's see what happens. So I went down to the Wally World and bought the value version of their battery instead of the maximum version. It's labeled as fewer cold cranking amps, but do you actually believe that it's fewer, or do you think it's just a label and the warranty? I don't know. Lights on, we have juice. All right, what do we say? Bring the thunder. Any idea how happy this makes me? I love it so much. Would you believe me if I told you this truck came from the factory with the exhaust sawn off right behind the cab? Yeah, it did not. Once upon a time, the dual pipes on this truck both rusted completely through, and I cut them off with an air hammer because I'd never heard of a Sawzall. We actually didn't own one. You know, whatever. That was a tool we just didn't have growing up. Loud trucks are fun. I don't like them so loud and that they're obnoxious. You can't hear yourself think, and you get smoke and exhaust fumes in the cab with you. But, you know, whatever. We'll fix it. That's a task for a different day. So my fuel light there, fuel gauge, probably needs more gas. 192,864 miles. I'm hoping that'll come around because, you know, I just replaced that pump on there. Oil pressure, I need coolant. I know I need to check the coolant in here. Radio. I always loved the fact you could get front and rear tanks. Now, I mistreated them all the time growing up. I mean, just run one tank completely down, and then when it started shuddering, you shift it over. That's not how that's supposed to work. It's just the way I did it, and that's probably why I got gas issues. But she's on, which means now we got to make her stop, because she'll go, but we got to make her stop. telling you, getting in this truck is like stepping into a time capsule. There are so many little odd and end type things that just show, I guess, what life used to be like. I've got up here on my visor all my CDs that I used to listen to. And back in middle school, this girl named Megan I rode the school bus with, she made me a mixtape full of music, I guess, that would now be classified as dad rock. Seether, Hinder, Nickelback, things like that. Side note, if you're hating on Nickelback just because the internet says that you should, just because it's cool to hate on Nickelback, what are you doing? Learn to think for yourself. Grow up. Anyway, just pretty neat stuff, and shout out to Megan for that CD. Wonder what she's doing now. To fix the leaky, rusty brake line problem here on the truck, I opted to buy a set of pre-bent stainless steel brake lines. I thought by the time I bought a roll of copper, did the front two and fixed those, I'd probably end up just chasing the problem all the way back. So I opted to get the complete stainless set. Time is money, so we'll go with that. I also, 3 years ago, decided to buy a set of speed bleeders. These are these bleeder screws for up here, and I think they've got some kind of check valve in them. I figured I was going to have to replace them anyway, so I bought those. You can see how bad the packaging looks because it's been sitting in here like baking in the sun. I don't know. I'm going to be working on this, and that's going to be super, super fun. But hopefully we'll be able to stop the truck, which is important. Updates. My buddy Levi came over yesterday and we got these brake lines swapped out for the stainless ones. While we were in that project, we realized that a lot of these brake lines on this truck still look to be in decent shape. They don't look like they're going to explode at any moment, which I liked because just so happened that those same lines were also the ones that had the nuts, those flare nuts, seized up in the whatever distribution blocks. And I didn't really want to fight with it. So the worst looking brake lines, the ones we were able to get free, got those swapped out and got the new ones in some of those places on here. However, one thing we did notice while we were swapping out, or basically trying to bleed the brakes, the caliper up here, the bleeder screw, was absolutely stuck. So I had to go and swap it out for a new one. I got to be able to bleed the brakes, or otherwise we're not going to have gained any ground. Oh well. If you don't watch our channel all the time, you might not know that we are in the middle of goat kidding season. So we have baby goats coming all the time. If baby goats and trucks and whatever else we can get into around here's your thing, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have checked the transmission fluid, checked the coolant, checked the brake fluid. I guess the only thing that I have left to do is to make sure that these things right here don't get all floppy. There. That ought to do the trick. Look, if it can't be fixed with zip ties, I don't want to fool with fixing it. Well, it is certainly not the smoothest ride in the world, but so far we're still on the road, which is cool. It's kind of, the funniest thing is trusting what I've done. Because sure, in theory, all this stuff ought to work just fine, right? But what if it doesn't? Well, I don't know. It's just one of them things. And I guess, well, I'm happy. I'm happy. Even though I'm sitting down here bopping along on these back roads, just doing whatever. This is pretty cool. Well, if you're gonna go for a test drive, what better place than the dollar store for a drink? And on my way over here, I got to thinking, because, bouncing around, need new tires, need to be balanced, that kind of thing, right? And I mean, this truck hasn't been on the road in 10 years. It has been almost 10 years since this truck was on a road. Not the road, not this road. I mean, any road, a road. And here we are. And it's driving, and we're just doing our thing. I'm I'm ecstatic. I'm pretty ecstatic. I got a lot of memories in this truck. We've, you know, to carry it through a couple different places now, and to be here, kind of, you know, making real progress, substantial progress, in getting this thing. I mean, it is on the road. So, are we here yet? I don't know, but this is pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed this revival half as much as I did. We've still got a few more things on here that we've got to clean up, and you know, it's a work in progress, but we're doing our best. We're certainly further along now than we were when we started this project. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Reagan. This is the GWP Homestead. We'll see y'all soon.